Have you ever had that strange moment when the universe aligns in the most unexpected way? Imagine walking into your boss's office, expecting a routine meeting, only to be handed termination papers. On the exact same day, you secretly signed a better job offer. That's exactly what happened to me, and the timing couldn't have been more perfect. Stay until the end to find out how this bizarre coincidence changed my entire career trajectory and the lessons I learned that could save you from workplace disaster. Welcome to Dismissal Diaries, where I share real stories about workplace terminations that turned into blessings in disguise. If you're new here, this channel is dedicated to helping you navigate the often brutal corporate world and turn career setbacks into opportunities. Hit that subscribe button and notification bell right now to join our community of survivors and thrivers who've turned their pink slips into golden tickets. It was a Tuesday morning in late September, the kind where summer reluctantly gives way to fall in Chicago. I remember the details vividly because it would become one of the most pivotal days of my professional life. I'd been working at Meridian Tech Solutions for almost 3 years as a senior project manager. From the outside, everything looked perfect. I had decent pay, reasonable benefits, and a title that sounded impressive at dinner parties. But beneath that polished surface, things had been deteriorating for months. The company had gone through a merger 6 months earlier, and the culture was shifting in ways that made my stomach turn. The collaborative environment I'd once loved was being replaced by something more cutthroat and impersonal. New management had brought in consultants who measured everything in metrics that rarely captured the actual value we delivered to clients. I'm not someone who jumps ship at the first sign of trouble. I believe in loyalty and working through challenges. So for months, I tried to adapt. I attended the new mandatory 7 a.m. strategy meetings. I adjusted my project management style to fit their new templates. I even started using their clunky new reporting system that everyone secretly hated. But with each passing week, I felt more like a cog in a machine and less like a valued team member. What really pushed me over the edge was watching how they treated my colleague, Janet. She'd been with the company for 15 years, practically a founding member, and had client relationships that were worth their weight in gold. After the merger, they moved her office to a windowless storage room, converted into a workspace, and gradually stripped away her responsibilities. They didn't fire her. That would have been too honest. Instead, they were slowly squeezing her out, hoping she'd quit so they wouldn't have to pay severance. That's when I knew I needed an exit plan. Not an impulsive resignation, but a strategic move. I quietly updated my LinkedIn profile, reached out to my network, and started taking interviews during my lunch breaks. For 2 months, I lived this double life, dedicated employee by day, job seeker by night. Then came Apex Innovation Group. A former colleague had moved there a year earlier and couldn't stop raving about their work culture. When a position opened up that matched my skill set, she immediately referred me. The interview process was rigorous. 4 rounds over 3 weeks, but refreshingly human. They asked about my problem-solving approaches, not just my ability to check boxes. They wanted to know how I built relationships with clients, not just how I tracked billable hours. The salary they offered was 25% higher than what I was making at Meridian. But what really sold me was their approach to work-life balance. They had flexible hours, remote work options, and this was the clincher, a sabbatical program that allowed employees to take a month off every 3 years to pursue personal projects or simply recharge. On that fateful Tuesday, I had a 10 a.m. virtual meeting scheduled with Apex's HR team to sign the offer letter electronically. I closed my office door, turned down the volume on my computer, and with slightly trembling fingers, signed the documents that would begin my new career chapter. I felt a weight lift off my shoulders as I clicked Submit on the final form. I had given myself 2 weeks before I would tender my resignation at Meridian, enough time to tie up loose ends and transition my projects. As I closed the browser window, my desk phone rang. It was Jessica from HR asking if I could come to the conference room for a quick meeting. Nothing about her tone raised any red flags. Jessica always sounded pleasantly professional. I grabbed my notebook and headed to the small conference room near the executive offices. As I approached, I noticed something odd. The blinds were drawn, which rarely happened unless there was a presentation. When I opened the door, I found Jessica seated next to Marcus, my direct supervisor, and Eleanor, the new operations director who had joined after the merger. Their expressions were carefully neutral, too neutral. "Please have a seat," Eleanor said, gesturing to the chair across from them. I sat down, feeling a strange calm despite the obvious tension in the room. Marcus cleared his throat, but couldn't seem to find his words. Eleanor took over. "We've been reviewing the organizational structure since the merger, looking for redundancies and opportunities to streamline operations," she began, her voice businesslike. "After careful consideration, we've determined that your position has become redundant with our new project management centralization initiative." I remember blinking slowly, processing her words while feeling strangely detached. Not even 20 minutes earlier, I had signed an offer for a better job, and now I was being let go from the one I had been planning to leave. "Today will be your last day," Eleanor continued. "Jessica has prepared a severance package that includes 2 weeks of pay and continuation of benefits through the end of the month. We'll need you to turn in your company phone and laptop before you leave the building." Marcus finally found his voice. "I want you to know this isn't a reflection on your performance," he said, not quite meeting my eyes. "It's strictly a business decision." But I knew better. In the weeks before, I had seen the writing on the wall. My name had been accidentally left off meeting invites. Projects I had nurtured from inception were being reassigned. The same slow squeeze they had applied to Janet was beginning to happen to me. Jessica slid a folder across the table containing termination papers, severance information, and a non-disclosure agreement they wanted me to sign in exchange for the meager severance. "Do you have any questions?" Eleanor asked, clearly hoping I didn't. I had a million questions, but none that they would answer honestly. Instead, I asked the practical ones about final paycheck, benefits, and returning company property. Throughout this surreal discussion, I kept thinking about the job offer I had just signed. The universe had orchestrated the most perfectly timed safety net, and they had no idea. Part of me wanted to laugh out loud at the cosmic timing. Another part wanted to tell them exactly what I thought of their streamlining initiatives and how I had already secured a better position. But the rational part of my brain, the part that understood the value of burning no bridges, kept me composed. As I packed up my desk under the awkward supervision of Marcus, I felt a strange mix of emotions. There was the sting of rejection that comes with being deemed redundant, regardless of whether you wanted to stay. There was anger at how they had handled the situation, the secrecy, the cold corporate speak, the pretense that this was somehow best for everyone. But overshadowing all of that was an incredible sense of relief and even gratitude for the timing. I called my partner from the parking lot. The box of desk plants and family photos sitting in my passenger seat. "You're not going to believe this," I said when they answered. "I just got fired." "What? But you just accepted the new job. Were you going to surprise me with both pieces of news at once?" "No, that's the thing. I got fired literally 20 minutes after signing the offer letter from Apex. They have no idea I was leaving anyway." There was a pause, then laughter on the other end of the line. "That's cosmic justice, if I've ever heard it. Are you okay, though?" I thought about it for a moment. You know what? I'm better than okay. I don't have to work out a notice period. I don't have to pretend I'm sad to leave, and I now have 2 weeks off before starting the new job, with severance pay to boot. What started as a shocking morning turned into an unexpected gift. 2 weeks of paid time off before starting my new position. I used that time to decompress, reflect, and prepare for my new role. I took a short trip to Michigan to clear my head, updated my home office for the remote workdays I'd have at the new job, and even took a project management certification course I'd been putting off. When I started at Apex the following month, I was refreshed and ready in a way I wouldn't have been if I'd worked up until the transition. I came in with energy and perspective that impressed my new colleagues. The irony of the situation wasn't lost on me. If Meridian had communicated openly about restructuring, treated long-term employees with respect, or simply maintained the culture that had once made it a great place to work, I might never have looked elsewhere. Their attempt to cut costs by eliminating positions like mine ultimately cost them institutional knowledge and client relationships that took years to build. 6 months into my new role at Apex, I ran into Marcus at an industry conference. The look of surprise on his face when he saw my name badge with Apex Innovation Group printed under it was priceless. "You landed on your feet quickly," he said, clearly uncomfortable. "I signed my offer with Apex the same morning you let me go," I replied with a smile. "Sometimes the universe has interesting timing." His expression shifted from discomfort to something like regret. "The restructuring hasn't gone as smoothly as they promised," he admitted. "3 of our biggest clients followed Janet when she left." I wasn't surprised. Janet's relationships with those clients spanned over a decade. To management, she was just a line item on a budget spreadsheet. To those clients, she was a trusted advisor who understood their needs better than anyone. "How are things at Apex?" he asked, perhaps genuinely curious, perhaps just making conversation. "Different," I said. They seem to understand that treating employees well translates to better client outcomes. Novel concept, right? We parted ways cordially, but that brief exchange reinforced what I had learned from this experience. Looking back now, 2 years later, I can see how that day of perfect timing changed everything. If I hadn't been laid off, I might have worked my 2-week notice period at Meridian, where I would have been miserable knowing what was waiting for me. The abrupt ending gave me a clean break and time to reset. More importantly, it taught me several critical lessons about navigating today's corporate landscape. First, always have an exit strategy. The workplace has changed. The days of lifetime employment and company loyalty are largely gone. Companies make decisions based on quarterly profits and shareholder value, not employee welfare. That doesn't mean you should be constantly looking to leave, but you should always know your market value and have your network maintained. Second, trust your instincts about culture shifts. When Meridian began changing after the merger, many of us tried to adapt rather than acknowledge that the new environment no longer aligned with our values. Culture isn't just about office perks or mission statements. It's about how decisions are made, how communication flows, and how people are treated when times get tough. Third, professionalism pays off, even when it's difficult. Despite the shock and emotional nature of being terminated, I remained composed and professional. I didn't burn bridges or make a scene, which not only preserved my professional reputation, but also left me in a better emotional state. The corporate world is surprisingly small, and maintaining your dignity during difficult transitions matters more than momentary satisfaction from telling them off. Fourth, timing isn't always within our control, but response is. I couldn't have planned the perfect synchronicity of signing a new offer the same day I was let go. But I could control how I responded to this stroke of luck. By choosing to see it as a gift, rather than dwelling on the rejection, I was able to make the most of the situation. Fifth, and perhaps most importantly, your worth isn't determined by any company's decision to keep or let you go. Corporate decisions are based on myriad factors that often have nothing to do with your individual performance or value. Understanding this helps maintain your professional confidence even when facing rejection. What happened to Meridian? In the years since I left, they've gone through 2 more rounds of layoffs. Their Glassdoor ratings have plummeted and they struggle to retain talent in a competitive market. Last I heard, they were being acquired by a larger firm. Their brand and identity soon to be erased completely. And Apex? The company has grown by 40% since I joined. We've expanded into new markets, and that culture of valuing employees has remained intact despite the growth. I've been promoted twice and now lead a team of my own, where I make it a priority to communicate openly and treat each team member as a whole person, not just a resource. That bizarre day of perfect timing didn't just change my employment situation. It transformed how I think about work, success, and professional resilience. Every career will have its setbacks, its moments of rejection and uncertainty. The question isn't whether these moments will come, but how prepared you'll be when they do, and what you'll learn from them. If you're currently in a workplace that doesn't value you, remember that it's not a reflection of your worth. If you're facing the uncertainty of a layoff or termination, know that sometimes what feels like an ending is actually the universe clearing the way for something better. And if you're comfortably employed, but have no safety net or exit strategy, perhaps today is the day to start building one, not out of disloyalty, but out of wisdom. My unexpected firing that coincided with signing a better offer taught me the most valuable career lesson. Always be prepared for the unexpected, and sometimes what seems like a disaster is actually your ticket to something better. If you've experienced a surprising dismissal or workplace twist of fate, share your story in the comments below. I read every single one. Did this story resonate with you? Has something similar happened in your career? Let me know in the comments section. And if you want more real-life workplace stories that can help you navigate your own career path, make sure to subscribe to Dismissal Diaries right now and hit that notification bell. Every week, I share a new story about turning career setbacks into opportunities. This community has become a place where we learn from each other's experiences and grow stronger together. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video about another unexpected workplace journey that led to something greater.